The city was a labyrinth of shadows and secrets. Dim alleys snaked between towering buildings, choked by the stench of decay and despair. Flickering neon signs cast an eerie glow on the rain-slicked streets, reflecting the city's grim heart. A haven for the lost and the damned. Tonight, the city whispered a new tale of desperation, a symphony of fear echoing through the concrete canyons. A lone figure hurried down a deserted street, their footsteps echoing in the stillness. Their trench coat, collar pulled high, did little to shield them from the relentless drizzle.
This was the city I knew all too well. I had walked its mean streets for years, my soul slowly hardening with each passing case. I had seen the worst humanity had to offer, the darkest corners of the human psyche. And yet, something about tonight felt different, the air thick with a palpable sense of dread.
Jessica Stone, the city's beloved songstress, had vanished. Anderson could still hear the echo of her last song, a haunting melody that now seemed like a premonition. The hunt had begun. Jessica Stone was a force of nature. Her voice, raw and powerful, could silence a room or ignite a stadium. On stage, she was electric, her every move radiating a magnetic energy that captivated audiences worldwide. Her fiery red hair and emerald green eyes held a hint of both vulnerability and defiance, a potent combination that had made her an icon. My rise to fame had been meteoric, a whirlwind of sold-out concerts and chart-topping hits. I had clawed my way out of obscurity, my talent my only weapon against the harsh realities of the music industry. But success came with a price. The relentless pressure, the constant scrutiny, the insatiable demands of my fans. It all took a toll. Whispers of my troubled past followed me like a shadow, fueling the gossip columns and casting a dark cloud over my achievements. Her lyrics, once filled with hope and longing, now hinted at a deeper pain, a sense of disillusionment with the world she had conquered. She was trapped by her own success, haunted by the ghosts of her past. I had felt it before, this sense of being watched, of being hunted. I tried to shake it off, attributing it to pre-show jitters, but the feeling persisted. As she stepped into the blinding spotlight, a pair of eyes watched her from the darkness, their gaze cold and calculating. Rain lashed against the window panes, a relentless torrent that mirrored the turmoil brewing inside the opulent mansion. The air crackled with tension, the silence broken only by the frantic ringing of a disconnected phone. Jessica Stone was gone, vanished without a trace. Her disappearance sent shockwaves through the city, leaving a trail of unanswered questions and shattered illusions in its wake. The last anyone had seen of her was at her concert earlier that evening. She had delivered a blistering performance, her voice resonating with raw emotion. But backstage, after the final encore, she had disappeared. Her dressing room was empty, her belongings untouched. It was as if she had vanished into thin air.
The lead detective, a seasoned veteran with world-weary eyes, examined the broken window, his gaze lingering on a shard of glass glinting ominously in the dim light. This was no ordinary disappearance. This was an abduction.
The news spread like wildfire, igniting a media frenzy that threatened to consume the city. But amidst the chaos and speculation, one question remained unanswered. Where was Jessica Stone?
The hunter.
Detective Mark Anderson ran a hand through his thinning hair, his face etched with fatigue. He had a knack for seeing through the lies, for unraveling the most intricate deceptions. Jessica Stone's disappearance had shaken him, stirring up ghosts of his own troubled past. He vowed to find her, to bring her back from the abyss that had swallowed her whole. Anderson was a study in contrasts. He could be gruff and cynical one moment, surprisingly compassionate the next. He carried the weight of the city's darkness on his shoulders, a burden that had etched lines on his face and a permanent weariness in his eyes. He had seen too much pain, too much corruption to ever fully believe in happy endings.
Who would want to harm Jessica Stone?
Was it a crazed fan, a jealous rival, or someone from her past seeking revenge? The possibilities were endless, each more sinister than the last. Anderson knew he was up against more than just a kidnapper. He would need to navigate a treacherous labyrinth of lies, half-truths, and hidden agendas to find Jessica Stone.
Threads of the case.
The investigation quickly spiraled into a tangled web of dead ends and false leads. The mansion yielded few clues, the forensic team uncovering nothing but the faintest traces of a struggle. Interviews with Jessica's staff and entourage proved equally fruitless, revealing a mixture of genuine concern and carefully constructed facades. Everyone had their secrets, their own reasons for wanting to keep their involvement with Jessica Stone under wraps. Anderson and his partner, the young and eager Detective Davis, spent countless hours poring over witness statements, security footage, and phone records. They chased down every rumor, every whisper of a lead, only to find themselves back where they started. The city seemed determined to keep its secrets, its inhabitants closing ranks around Jessica's disappearance. A break in the case came from an unexpected source. A cryptic message delivered to the police station in a plain brown envelope hinted at a possible connection to Jessica's past. The message, scrawled in shaky handwriting, mentioned a name, Salvatore, and a location, the Blue Angel nightclub. It was a long shot, a faint glimmer of hope in the otherwise impenetrable darkness.
Anderson and Davis descended into the city's underbelly, their investigation leading them to the seedy underbelly of the Blue Angel.
The nightclub, a notorious hangout for the city's criminal element, pulsed with a dangerous energy.
Web of deceit.
The Blue Angel held a treasure trove of secrets, each one a thread in the intricate tapestry of Jessica Stone's life. Salvatore, a grizzled old bartender with a haunted look in his eyes, reluctantly revealed what he knew. Jessica, he explained, had been a regular at the Blue Angel in her younger years, before her rise to fame. She had been involved with a dangerous crowd, running with a fast-talking promoter named Ricky Malone. Malone, according to Salvatore, was bad news. He had a reputation for exploiting young talent, bleeding them dry before discarding them. He had been obsessed with Jessica, convinced he could make her a star. But their relationship had soured, ending in a bitter feud that had left both of them scarred.
Could Malone be behind Jessica's disappearance? Had he resurfaced, seeking revenge for past grievances?
As Anderson delved deeper into Malone's world, he uncovered a web of deceit that stretched far beyond the walls of the Blue Angel. Malone, it turned out, was deeply involved in a dangerous game, his fingers in various criminal enterprises. He had made powerful enemies, men who operated in the shadows, their methods brutal and their reach extending to the highest levels of power. The pieces of the puzzle were starting to fall into place, but the picture they revealed was more disturbing than Anderson could have imagined. Officer Anderson, dedicated and meticulous, reviews case files under the dim glow of a desk lamp. Determined to find Malone and rescue Jessica Stone, he sifts through photographs and documents, deep in thought. Suddenly, a glint catches his eye, a torn piece of paper half hidden under a file. Curious, he retrieves the paper scrap, unfolding it to reveal a faded map with an X marking a location, an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town. Realizing the significance, Anderson's expression hardens with determination. Grabbing his coat and clutching the map tightly, he heads for the door. In the quiet of the office, the discovery resonates, a beacon of hope in the pursuit of justice.
Into radio. I'm in position C. All units maintain radio silence unless absolutely necessary. No visual on Malone yet. Proceeding with caution.
The warehouse is a maze of shadows and echoes, a perfect hiding place for someone who doesn't want to be found. Police Officer Anderson cautiously moves through the dimly lit corridors, every step calculated, every sense heightened. His footsteps are muffled against the dusty concrete floor, the sound barely audible in the oppressive silence. His hand grips his service weapon tightly, knuckles white with tension, eyes scanning for any sign of movement, every shadow a potential threat. Anderson's voice crackles through the radio, breaking the silence, the tension palpable in his demeanor, a mix of fear and determination as he presses forward into the unknown. Suddenly, a faint shuffling noise reaches his ears. He freezes, heart pounding.
Whispering, Malone, show yourself.
From the darkness emerges Malone, a sinister figure with a menacing grin, dragging Jessica Stone by the arm. Her eyes widen in fear, gagged and bound, struggling against Malone's grip.
A mocking. Officer Anderson, right on cue.
Malone presses a gun to Jessica's temple, his expression cold and calculating. The room is filled with a tense silence, every breath held in anticipation of what might happen next. Anderson's jaw clenches, his focus unwavering. He knows one wrong move could mean the difference between life and death.
Let her go, Malone. It's over. You have nowhere to run and the building is surrounded.
Laughs. Oh, it's far from over. She's my ticket out of here. You think you can stop me? Think again.
Anderson inches closer, carefully gauging his next move. He can see the fear in Jessica's eyes, and he knows he has to act fast. The tension in the room is suffocating, the stakes higher than ever. Every second feels like an eternity as the situation teeters on the edge of chaos.
Muffled Alex, please, don't let him hurt me.
The warehouse suddenly floods with the sound of approaching sirens. The air is thick with tension as the flashing lights cast eerie shadows on the walls.
Angrily, you set me up, this isn't over?
With lightning speed, Anderson lunges forward, knocking Malone's gun away. They grapple ferociously, fists flying as they struggle for control. The sound of their struggle echoes through the warehouse, adding to the chaos.
Desperate, Alex, please help me.
Anderson manages to overpower Malone, pinning him to the ground. Backup bursts into the warehouse, flooding the space with blinding light. The officers move swiftly, securing the area and ensuring no one else is in danger.
To Jessica, freeing her. It's okay, Jessica, you're safe now, we've got you.
Jessica nods gratefully, tears streaming down her face as officers rush to secure Malone. The relief is palpable, a heavy weight lifted from her shoulders.
From the doorway. Police, drop your weapon, now!
Anderson stands victorious, his gaze never leaving Jessica. Relief washes over them both as the nightmare finally comes to an end. The warehouse, once a scene of terror, now feels like a place of triumph and hope. In the aftermath, Anderson stands beside Jessica, his protective presence a shield against the darkness they've endured. The warehouse, once a prison of fear, now echoes with the promise of justice served.